Hello everybody, this is Josh Rappaport with Singing Turtle Press, and in this video I'd like to show you how to simplify algebraic fractions that have more than one term in either the numerator or in the denominator. Also, algebraic fractions that have more than one term in both the numerator or denominator, because the same principle applies for those as well. These look a little bit intimidating, but they're really not very difficult. So let me just plunge right in and show you what we're talking about. I'm going to go through the example that's in the Algebra Survival Guide on, if you have the physical copy of the book, it's on page 104. And here it is, it's x to the negative fourth times x to the 10th times x to the 0 power in the numerator, all over what? All over x to the 13th times x to the negative 2. Now the first thing you do when you've got more than one term, notice we've got more than one term in both the numerator and in the denominator. The first thing you actually want to do is use the same base product rule for both the numerator and the denominator. So here what we'd wind up with is x to the negative 4 plus 10 plus 0, which is kind of like adding nothing there, all divided by x to the 13 plus negative 2, which is the same thing as 13 minus 2. Okay. Now using the same base product rule, all we do is we add the exponents. We combine the exponents. Here we've got negative 4 plus 10, that's 6. 6 plus 0 is 6. So we just have x to the 6th over what we've got down here, 13 plus negative 2, that's just 13 minus 2. So that's x to the 11th. Okay. Now at this point we use a very handy trick that I've explained in previous videos, which is that you want to move the term that has the smaller exponent. So just to think this out, notice we've got an exponent of 6 and we've got an exponent of 11. And you simply ask the question, which of the two numbers is smaller? Well, obviously 6 is smaller, so that's the term we're going to move. So let me set that up so you can see how it works. We've got x to the 6th in the numerator, x to the 11th in the denominator. We just said that we would move the one that has the smaller exponent, which is the x to the 6th. I just circle it and move it down, show an arrow showing we're going to move it down. Now it's really important to realize that in its place you leave a 1. That 1 goes in the numerator, and it's critical that you have that, because if you don't, it would look as, you wouldn't have a fraction. You would just have a term that looks like it would be in the numerator when it's really not. In other words, it's similar to the situation of what's the difference between 4 versus 1/4? Well, there's a huge difference, and the difference arises because of the fact that we've got the 1 and the fraction bar pushing the 4, in a sense, down into the denominator. You might even say that this 1 is kind of like a placeholder. Just as 0 can be a placeholder in numbers, the 1 is a placeholder pushing the 4 into the denominator. So we need that 1. So now we have a 1 in the numerator, and then what we get in the denominator is x to the 11th times x to the negative 6. Remember that when the exponent moves across the fraction bar, its sign changes. Now we just use the same base product rule again, but now for the denominator. So we've got x to the 11. I'm just going to write it as 11 minus 6, because 11 plus negative 6 is the same thing as 11 minus 6. And what that comes out to be is just 1 over, it's supposed to be a 1 there. It could look a little more 1-ish. We have 1 over x to the 5th. Okay, now it's important to realize this is the form, the answer form, that most teachers prefer. You know, if you do this problem a slightly different way, you could get an answer of x to the negative 5th. So I'm just going to make a note. It's equal to x to the negative 5th. If your teacher or curriculum or program or whatever you're using doesn't mind negative exponents, this answer would be just fine. But as I'm saying, most teachers, most programs prefer the exponents to be positive. That's why we use this approach of moving the term that has the smaller exponent. It will always make your exponent positive, which is a really nice thing. Makes it easy to get the answer that your teacher or program wants you to get. So basically there you have it. You use the same base product rule. You look at your two different terms, see which one has the smaller exponent, You move the term that has the smaller exponent across the fraction bar. Use the same base product rule again down in the denominator. You put the 1 in the numerator as a placeholder if, in fact, your terms wind up in the denominator. And then you just use the same base product rule again. It's a very handy rule. It gets used quite a bit, as you can see. And from there, you get your answer. And the answer has the exponent positive. So that's essentially it. I suggest that you do some practice problems to get the hang of that. And that basically explains the process. So I hope that's clear. I hope it makes sense to you. But the best thing to do to really nail it down is get some more practice problems right now. And you can get that in both the Algebra Survival Guide and in the practice problems of the workbook. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.